So I've seen several questions lately about how to help a student who is starting to blend words, sounds into words, then can't remember what they've done and can't say the word that they've just blended, or kids that are getting stuck and what do we do now? There's just a disconnect. And some people recommend that you just stick with PA, phonemic and phonological awareness activities, uh, or however long it takes. And that sounds like it might be warranted, but I think that we can be more efficient. And when kids are struggling and when kids are behind, we have to be as efficient as possible to give them the progress that they need, so that they're not falling further and further behind their peers in reading. So yes, we know we need to do phonemic awareness activities and phonological awareness activities wherever they are, but we shouldn't only do that. So what else can we do? So I want to just show you what I do with my students who struggle with these things. That's the last thing. So along with trying to do phonemic awareness activities, I will do blending, and I will teach continuous blending. So I don't want to hear j, x, jux, because that just taxes the working memory. And I have another video about the importance of continuous blending, but I will work on continuous blending. And I will show, sometimes I'll just show two sounds to start, and at the very beginning they might say j, ah, ah, ja, and we'll start with continuant sounds and try to connect it. And I'll say, let's try to keep the sounds together. I don't want to hear j, ah. What I want to hear is ja. So, I do, we do, you do, and we'll work on those together of getting the sounds together. And I'll tell them, there's another sound here. I'm just not going to show it to you yet. So then I go from me producing the sounds. The sounds are y, ah. Now, you see the y, you see the ah. Now I want you to say it together. So together we'd say ya, and then once we say it together, then I open it up, and it's yacht. And good thing we know how to read yacht, because that would be in Dr. Seuss books. Okay, so here we go. And so I might start by providing the sound, and that reinforces the sound symbol correspondence, and get them to put it together. And eventually if I am know that they're familiar with the sounds, they're fairly secure on the sounds, I'll ask them, think the sound. Okay, ready? Have you thought it? Don't say it, think it. And then we're going to say it together, laws. And we just drop on that other sound. And then I'll do that with CVC, and I will say, think it, ready? Think it, say it together, jux. So I'm going to reinforce the sounds to the symbols and teach how to put the sounds together. So that supports, that is, yes, it's with letters, but that supports that phonemic awareness, because we are identifying the sounds and blending them together, right? So we'll work on this. So we don't just do phonemic awareness drills, we will work on this, but then that's not all we can do, we can do more. So I'm showing this because I just had a 9-year-old third grader, completely non-reader, that I've been working with, and she has been learning sounds but could not put them together. So she's been learning to blend them together, still could not read, and she's adamant. She's 9 and in third grade, and she's adamant at this point that she just can't read. She just can't do it. So why even try, because she can't do it. But she is able to now segment sounds and hear sounds. So when we'll start out, she's now identifying 4 sounds in a word. And I'll start by having her, and I started with 3 sounds or 2 sounds. Actually, I started, not that one. with just vowel sounds, you know. So if I said, you know, the sound is ah, which letter is it? And she would identify this. And then if the sound is I, which letter is it? She would identify this one. And then I might ask her to identify the sounds within a word. So if I said at, what sound are you hearing? And if I say it, which sound do you hear? So we would work with individual, a little bit of individual sounds. And I've tried Elkin boxes with her, and that was just way too abstract at the beginning. She's starting to get it now, but with only the boxes, she's able to do 2 sounds. She can't even go to 3 sounds still. And, you know, this is a very dyslexic child. And she, you know, the idea of order was totally foreign to her. So, you know, I had to put in an ice cream truck. Okay, who's the first one? And who's the next one who's going to get the ice cream? And who's the third one who's going to get the ice cream? Okay, so, you know, if the word is, and I tried it with 3 and it didn't work, she's now sort of getting there, but she can do it with 2. And, you know, if the word is at, which sound is going to be first in mind? You know, which is the one that's first? And she, the and then the t, and then I would try, okay, so now we have at. I want you to change the t, take away the t. You know, I would say this. So this one's the and this one's the t. What's this one? This, oh, she would have to identify that's the She would identify this is the t. Okay, so this is the and this is the t. Now if I take the t away, and I'm going to put in a d. Now what's this one? Get her to say d. So this one was the so now what do I have? And we're starting to get there, but just with the boxes, that's still so abstract for her, and it's very, very difficult. But she's been able to do it. She couldn't do it with little letters. I had to make them bigger. She's been able to do it here. And is it truly a phonemic awareness activity? Well, you know what? We're supporting it. This is the scaffolding she needs. And this is the scaffolding a lot of our struggling kids need as they're going into the phoneme awareness. Like they've learned some of these letters and some of the sounds. So we'll scaffold it with this. And yes, we want them to eventually get to where they're just processing sounds. But if this is the scaffolding they need, this is what we're going to do. So, you know, if I said the word is cat, and I originally had an ice cream truck here. So, and if I can start with the k sound, and what's the next one? Let's listen. Ah, and she could find the ah. Now I say, okay, I've got the ah. I've got ah. What's the next sound we need? Cat. What sound do we have to find? And she could find this. And then we would go in and say, all right, right now we have at, and I could identify it segmented and I'd say, what was this word? And she could say, I said that's at, what's the word? And get the child to produce cat. And if she's saying at dog, then I would say, okay, I've got the remember how we put our sounds together? Cat, and drop this on. So using all of the tools to support each other. And so we get success with getting her to say that this is cat. And then to add in more phonemic manipulation, I'll say, I might start out by saying, okay, right now it says cat. I want to change it to sat. What do I need to do? Now, Reading Simplified, they do this, their switchets, and they're very successful. And I've done this for years, and it helps. Now, it's not truly phonemic awareness, just auditory, because we're supporting it with the visual, but it's a good scaffold. So if I say I want to change this to sat, now some of my beginning kids could say, oh, I don't need this, I need this. This girl couldn't do it. And I've had a few who could not do it. So what she does is she would say, we want, let's say it again, we want oh, that's the same one. At, oh, that's the same, and she would move it down. Okay, well, what do we need here now? Let's say it again. At, and then she could go and find it. She couldn't do it in one step, and I've had a couple like this, but she could do it in 2 steps. Let's say, okay, we're gonna get rid of that. Right now it says at, sat. We put the sounds together, remember? Sat. And now I want to change it so it says sit, sit. And whereas this child has a lot of difficulty, she would say sit, and it's okay. We've got sat, and I want sit, and she would say sit. Oh, not that one. That one. And then she could go up and look and find this. So it takes this child more steps, but she's getting there, and she's getting awareness of the sounds and where they are. So sounds to the symbols in the sequence. So she's ordering that, and she's getting her brain to be more aware of what's happening. And I can sometimes say, okay, now what would happen? I'm not going to do it yet. What would happen if I change this to a f? Can you imagine what would happen? And at first, she couldn't do it. And I would have to bring this down here, and I'd say, okay, right now we have it. What would happen? I'm not doing it yet. What would happen though if I change this to a f? And she could then say fit, and then we would make the change. So as much scaffolding as you need, and then removing it as we can. So she's now at the point where she's identifying 4 sounds fairly well, but was still adamant that she could not read, could not read. And if I just typed out FIT, could not read it, would not, could not read it, no way. So then we move into, we've been working here, so it's like, okay, so we are going to build the words that we've just built. Guess what? I wrote them down. We're going to build them here with the letters on your keyboard. So we'd say, you know, the word was dust, dust, and she could find the sounds and put them here. Still would not say that she could read the word, but she could encode it, and then we would write this, build these words here. And so she was adamant she couldn't read these. But then I'd say, okay, let's see. So this one was the this was the must. And we'd go through this. And then I'd say, okay, here's what I want you to do. Let's see if we can find the word that says mast. I'm looking for the word that's mast, mast. And she would look and look and look, and she'd say, oh, here it is. And now she knows how to change the color. She loves color, so she would change the color. So I would then say, okay, we're going to find the word rest, rest, rest. And she would look and find it and make that red. So we did this for a few days, still adamant she could not read. So then, this was so exciting, just this last couple of days. I said, okay, you know, we had some words and you're going to write them in here. So I said the word was ham, ham, and she would build it, and totally unaware that what I was building was a sentence. And then I would say the word was has, and she would build it, and the word was a, and I said, actually, I usually say but we can think a, and she did that, and and then bag, and then I would say, okay, find the word bag, bag, and she would make that blue, and I didn't go in order. And I'd say, find the word has, and she made that green, and I went through the words, and I said, okay, so wait, now, what was the red word? And she'd say, pan, okay. What was the green word? Has. Okay, wait, what was that purple word? And she would tell me, and then I said, what was the blue word? And she said it. I said, wait, so the red word, green word, oh, okay. And she was hearing herself say the words that she was sure she couldn't read. And then we did it again here. And I said, do you know the word the? You've seen that word. And she's had to copy, she's in third grade, she's had to copy words, so she knew that word. So let's write that word. And then I wanted the word bag and the word is, the word fat. And then I said, okay, find the word is and make it whatever. And find the word fat. And then find the word bag and make it yellow. And find the word the and make it green. And I said, okay, so what was the green word again? What was that yellow word? What was the red word? What was the whatever color it is? Brown word. And she heard herself saying it, still adamant that she couldn't read it. She says, well, let's make it say the big bag is red. I said, okay, let's make it say that. And so she said the, and she typed out the big, and she typed it out, bag. She typed it out, is, and read. And she typed out her sentence. This is the first sentence that she's written out on her own. Now, she's still adamant that she can't read, but we're getting there. We're having to deal with a lot of, when students are so far behind and they know they're not doing what other kids are doing, they feel dumb, and they can get the mindset of, I just don't do that. I just, that reading thing, I don't do it. And it takes some convincing that they are able to do this. And, but we don't stop and just do phonemic awareness activities because that's where she is. And she is truly still working on phonemic awareness activities. And we don't just do the blending because we have to use all of those pieces to support each other. And it's slow, but she is making progress. And I've had other kids of this level that it takes them a while to realize that all the pieces are starting to fit together. And we will get there. So I hope this gives you some ideas of how you can work with your struggling readers. Stop.